Hi, it's Ray from IELTSFocus.com, and in this quick video I want to go through some trusted resources for IELTS, like some IELTS websites and IELTS YouTube channels. Now the thing is, there's a lot of IELTS material out there, as you're probably well aware of. There's a lot of websites, but quite a lot of those websites are pretty bad. Some of them are really awful. There are quite a few scams out there, which you've got to be careful of. But there are also a handful of very good websites that you can trust and rely on. So you need to be careful about the kind of information you're consuming. Now also, a few points I need to make is you need to set up a study schedule when you're studying IELTS. So you need to have realistic time frames. So I often get people saying to me, I'm doing the exam like next week and I need to get a band 7. And then I ask them, okay, what's your current band score? And they'll say, well, I'm on a band 6. For example, in the writing, maybe they want to go from a band 6 to a band 7 in writing. Well, that's being very unrealistic. So you need to really set up a realistic schedule, give yourself a few months for studying, find what your weak areas are and set up a study schedule, find out or work out how many hours you got per day to study. And there's actually a video on YouTube here about study schedules on my channel. So you need to have realistic goals. You need to be realistic in terms of time frame. And another thing is don't overconsume too much IELTS material. So a lot of students will go from one blog post to another blog post and a YouTube channel, and then they go through YouTube and they spend all day long looking at all these different YouTube channels. And then they get confused because every IELTS teacher has their own style of teaching or their own methods, and often students will get conflicting information and then they just become frustrated. So just stick to one or two trusted blogs, or if you have an IELTS teacher, just stick to your IELTS teacher and don't just go off into different tangents looking at all these different blogs and YouTube channels, because it's going to really it's going to frustrate you in the end. It will lead to confusion. So just choose one or two, and I'll show you some that I recommend. There are a few more than that, but I just want to go through a few very good trusted websites and YouTube channels. Let's have a look. Okay, so let's have a look at some useful websites. Obviously, I'll start with my own one, ieltsfocus.com. So if you go to that website, and let's say, for example, you're struggling with writing, I've got some lessons here for writing task 1. Loads of stuff there for general, and grammar and vocabulary lessons, maps, process diagrams, pie charts, and so on. And of course, writing task 2. So there's a lot of stuff here relating to the essays. Quite a lot of comprehensive blog posts and lessons in there. So have a look through that. And then of course there's stuff for speaking. There's free IELTS speaking lessons here. Structures, common questions, topics, useful techniques, and so on. And there's some videos here on my YouTube channel. And also for the reading, you'll find some useful recent lessons here, online tests, and so on. And obviously there's a writing correction service and a speaking correction service, which is a paid service. Okay, so let's look at another very useful website. So you're probably well aware of this. This is IELTS Liz, and she has some very good stuff, especially for things like reading. There's a lot of practice lessons here, like true, false, not given, and so on. So you just click on one of these, for example. There's a whole reading practice there, and usually she has the answers there, so have a look at that. So also another good one is the vocabulary section here. So there's obviously with IELTS vocabulary, you need to be working on vocabulary for specific topics, such as society, crime, the environment, education, and so on. So for example, education, it's a common topic that comes up in IELTS. So there's quite a lot of stuff there. There's some practice sentences and so on. And also listening. There's a lot of listening practice here. So that's very useful. And then in terms of her YouTube channel, got a lot of stuff there. Very good stuff there. Take a look at that. The next website I would recommend is IELTS etc. or IELTSETC.com with IELTS with Fiona. Some great stuff on here. There's also she has a very good YouTube channel, and there's a Facebook group you can join for free, I think. Just looking at her YouTube channel, she updates it quite often. Some good stuff, some good lessons on there. Quite a lot of videos, so have a look at that. And then we have IELTS Advantage. It's a very good website. If you go to the resources section, you can see on the right side, you can navigate here. You got IELTS writing, reading, speaking, vocabulary, tips, all sorts of stuff here. So there's a lot of very good stuff, very comprehensive website. And also he has a very good YouTube channel with an enormous amount of videos there. And there's also some free online courses, for example, how to build up your vocabulary and reading skills and writing and everything. So so basically I've just gone over 3 websites here: IELTS Liz, IELTS ETC, and IELTS Advantage, and then of course my own website. There are a couple or 2 or 3 more I could mention, but I don't want to give you too much information because, as I said before, what you should be really doing is just focusing on 1 or 2 useful blogs that are very trustworthy, and don't get too kind of caught up in consuming too much information. You need to be taking action, really. So whatever your weak area is, if it's vocabulary, if it's grammar, then work on that. And also, just to quickly mention, on my website there are some free online English study links. So some people struggle with listening or grammar, reading, and things like grammar and vocabulary. There's a grammar link here, for example, where you can do free exercises. It could be reading. This is a good website, Ideas in English. Lots of articles on there for developing your reading skills connected to IELTS. Listening. Loads of stuff on here. This is a very good one, ELLO, and so on. So if you have any questions or you're going to make a comment, leave a comment or a question in the comment box below if you're watching this on YouTube. Okay, thanks a lot.